You are now listening to Mr. Z Blackneffect.
What's going on, y'all? What's going on? What's going on? Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. Shout out to the replay gang already. Shout out to the replay gang. Shout yourself out in the comments. Um, oh yeah, replay gang. Thank you button and hype button, please and thank you. All right. All right. So yes, we are spinning the block because I didn't actually get to torture y'all waterboard. Shout out to Better You. Torture y'all with Shayna's commentary earlier. Yeah, which is the whole point of listening in, right? So we'll get to it in a minute, but I think I need to spin the block on the Nick Young thing. And why did I delete it, the Nick Young? Let's do this. Y'all, did I keep that Nick Young video? No, I did not. Oh man. Okay, so okay, we were gonna have to play it because I don't want. So I'll just play this later. I can always do that. Y'all gives you a second. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. Let's give it a minute. Uh-oh. I thought I did the right thing, and it didn't work out the way I wanted. Oh boy. Y'all gives you a second. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. Z already you start off with the BS, Z. I know. Y'all gives you a second. I think we got it. I think we got what we need, and it should be up in a minute. Okay, so before we get underway with Shayna, we're gonna kind of make a slight detour. It's somewhat still in the ballpark, kind of, sort of. So we're gonna double back on Nick Young, brother that's on TikTok, um, in his talk of classism and how classism is keeping many of us single, right? Now, as I said before, I think the word he was looking for was really elitism, but we're going to have a young lady kind of school him and be really condescending, but we'll get to that in a minute. But let's play Nick Young, and then we'll play the young lady's commentary, and then we'll get underway. We'll finally get to Shayna in a little bit, as promised. And we're back. My apologies, everyone. Let's get underway. Let's get underway.
Going to Morehouse College taught me how much classism is keeping a lot of black adults single. And it is. Classism is keeping a lot of us single. And I don't hear us talk about that enough as we're having these conversations on these apps about the high rates of singleness amongst us super educated and us super successful black adults. We need to introduce into the conversation the role that classism plays in keeping us single. Because the truth is, a lot of these super educated, super successful black adults are single not because they've never met someone who makes them feel safe. They're single not because they've never met someone they find to be substantive. They're single not because they haven't met someone that makes them feel special. A lot of these super educated, super successful black adults are single because they haven't met someone who meets their family's ideals of suitable. And that's something we need to talk about when we're having these think pieces about the high rates of singleness amongst super educated, super successful black adults. It's not that they haven't met someone that makes them feel safe. It's not that they haven't met someone that makes them feel special. They haven't met someone who matches their family's ideals of suitable. And this post is not an attack on standards. Have your standards. I have my standards. But when we're having conversations about singleness, let's be honest about how our standards are keeping us single. Like, the truth is, classism is keeping a lot of us cold at night, and classism is keeping a lot of us from considering people we actually might be compatible with.
Now, to Nick Young, brother, I said it last stream, right? You could have just came up the middle. The women got mad and started ripping you apart in your comments anyway. Huh? Right? They know you talking about them because we know it's not a man thing. Men choose who's around, and we live in reality, right? Even the female matchmakers, white, black, Latina, are like, these women are delusional. Especially the black female matchmakers. They always got to retire. They always got to shut down their business. Huh? And they're explicit, whether it's April Mason, whether it's Rebecca Lynn Pope, who's the other one I'm forgetting, right? Over the past few years, they tell the ladies are impossible. Huh? Kendra G is dealing with it right now. Huh? So, to you, brother Nick Young, simply put, the women are not actually looking for quote unquote assortative mating. They may use that term, but it's actually hypergamy. And what ends up happening is women hit the ceiling. Black women in particular hit the ceiling. This is where you get the swirler divester talk. They think they're going to be saved by some mythical, magical white man. For the black women that are actually doing pretty well in life, they're highly educated, they're middle management and above, they find themselves in this weird position. Everything other than whatever mythical, magical man they have in their imagination is dating down. And that person needs to check off certain status markers. I cannot begrudge the women their opinions about what their life should be, what their spouse should be, their future spouse should be. I cannot begrudge the women their standards. With that, that's a woman problem, right? The ladies are throwing a fit because the degree is supposed to allow for them to get top shelf men. The status and the accolades and the career is supposed to allow for them to be in certain spaces where top shelf men are all over the place, where they could eeny, meeny, miny, mo, whichever man tickles their fancy, white, black, Latino, Asian, or otherwise. And of course, women, particularly in our case as black men, black women are angered by, although they try to minimize it, not really, angered by the fact in their mind, they're being told to resign themselves to bum loser beneath them black men, right? That's how the ladies feel. They feel like they're being told to settle for bum loser black men who they think they're better than. And that's okay. That's where you get sentiments like this.
But my thing is, like, I don't understand the obsession with trying to make black women settle so much. Y'all don't do this with any other community. Like, seriously. Y'all don't do this with any other community. Do y'all tell white women that they should settle? Because last time I checked, anytime a white girl marries a black man, it's always when he's at his best and when he's rich as hell. You think Kim Kardashian was going to marry Kanye while he was broke and didn't have any money? You think Kanye would have had a chance with Kim then? Or you think Kanye had a chance with Kim when he was a multi-million-dollar rapper? Let's be real. Like, y'all don't say this to any other group but us. We're tired of settling. We're tired.
Now, as you can see, that young lady showed frustration at Tyler Perry in particular, but I would argue the entire Black community and larger society for how she feels that society is telling successful Black women or just any Black woman to settle for bum loser beneath them Black men, while other women get top shelf, successful, rich, not broke Black men. And other women get top shelf, not broke any man, right? White, Latino, Asian, any non-Black man also. Here's the gag. When Kim Kardashian really got with Kanye, he was $53 million in debt. That's the gag. The example that she used is a horrible example. The gag is Kanye became a billionaire with Kim Kardashian. They helped each other become even richer when they were together. That's the gag. Her example was actually you couple up with someone and y'all make each other great or greater. See, Mr. Young, you see the example she tried to use. She didn't even get the right example from the example she tried to use. That's the kicker about this. That's the funniest thing in the world. Huh? That's the funniest thing in the world is the example that she tried to use. She didn't even get the right example from her example. What she got from it is you only deal with the men when they're at the very tippy top, or when they're super successful. You don't build nothing. You wait at the finish line for the winners, and then you grab the winners. Now, was Kanye definitely winning? Even in debt? Yes, he was Kanye West. We knew him before he got with Kim Kardashian. Huh? With that, he was in debt. And Otis says, and thank you for the super chat, Kanye bagged Kim K while $34 million in debt. So I said 53, tens of millions. We'll just say that. Tens of millions of dollars in debt. Huh? And thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat, Otis. Tens of millions of dollars in debt. Now that we established the video that Nick Young put out, and obviously we're doubling back because we're gonna smooth transition, maybe not so smooth transition, to Shayna in a minute. But this is a response to a response of Nick Young and what he said, and here we go.
Thanks, Nick, for finding my video and leaving incredibly long comments. I really appreciate it. I do want to clarify a few points though, right? I think the first thing is that in my video, while I do reference you, and I admit that, like I'm talking about you at least in part, by the end of the video, I'm not talking about you, the individual, right? I'm using men plural. I'm using the collective they, because I'm not talking to just you. I'm talking to the men in the space that you've harbored, the safe space that you've harbored for Black men to speak disparagingly and down toward Black women. The thing about dog whistles is that they provide plausible deniability, right? You have not said the quiet part out loud, and so you can make the argument that's not what you're saying. The issue, of course, Nick, is that some of your friends, your peers, are making videos where they do say the quiet part out loud, and you are in the comment section thanking them.
Classism is keeping you from finding a husband.
So I misunderstood, I guess. A large part of why your videos...
Going to more...
Thanks, Nick, for finding my video and leaving incredibly long comments.
Thanks,
Nick, for finding my video and leaving incredibly long comments.
Struggle streaming.
I do want to clarify a few points though, right? I think the first thing is that in my video, while I do reference you, and I admit that, like I'm talking about you at least in part, by the end of the video, I'm not talking about you, the individual, right? I'm using men plural. I'm using the collective they, because I'm not talking to just you. I'm talking to the men in the space that you've harbored, the safe space that you've harbored for Black men to speak disparagingly and down toward Black women. The thing about dog whistles is that they provide plausible deniability, right? You have not said the quiet part out loud, and so you can make the argument that's not what you're saying. The issue, of course, Nick, is that some of your friends, your peers, are making videos where they do say the quiet part out loud, and you are in the comment section thanking them.
Classism is keeping you from finding a husband.
So I misunderstood, I guess. A large part of why your videos have sort of devolved into this almost manosphere adjacent conversation is because you're not employing the right words properly, right? You are describing elitism, but you're articulating it as classism, which is inviting conversations where these men are sort of arguing, if I'm a plumber and I earn $85K, why can't I do this and that and whatever else? But you're arguing in your videos that this is really a question of like medical doctors arguing of what med school did each other attend. That's not classism. Medical doctors are in the same socioeconomic class. This is elitism, right? We're talking about the nuance within ultra elite spaces. Sam going to say on this like conversation around classism, which I think is actually meant to be a conversation about elitism, but I digress, is marriage is inherently classist, right? The institution of marriage was created for individuals to pool resources more efficiently to maintain their socioeconomic status within their communities. That's why the concept of a love marriage is so modern, because up until very recently, people were not marrying for love, right? They're marrying within their communities, within their caste, within oftentimes extended families, to maintain their position in their cultures and their societies. I don't know if I'm part of the target demographic of this conversation because the goalpost transparently keeps moving. All I know is that I went to a lower tier Ivy. In the Ivy League, there is HYP and there's everyone else. That is to say, I am very familiar with the stratification that happens even within ultra elite spaces. Also, when I reference that article, it's because I read it several months ago and I found it really interesting because it sort of negates much of the conversations we have with anecdotes. Anyways, Godspeed.
All right. So now we done entered ultra elite space conversation. And the stratification in ultra elite spaces. Z, you are too loser, blue collar, low tier to be having this conversation. Watch me. Watch me. Anyway, let me take my ignorant ass up on in here and eat my chicken wings with the grease on my face, with my elbows on the table. Shout out to Trick Daddy. You got to be a Dade County native to know the reference of the song that I'm referencing. Anyway, either way, I'm joking, not joking. So it's interesting listening to Black people talk about classism and elitism. Quite frankly, I agree with her that, and I said this the first time, that Mr. Young made a mistake by saying classism instead of elitism. I agree with her on that. I actually said that a couple weeks ago when we covered this. With that, okay, let's pause right there. With that, we still have to have a conversation. And the fact that you said that his friends, Mr. Young's friends, are, I guess, reading this wrong, or he didn't say the quiet part out loud, but his friends are, right? I guess other content creators are saying the quiet part out loud, and you played a clip of a young man saying classism is keeping you from finding a husband. And the problem with that statement is, or maybe not classism. Okay, fine. Elitism is keeping you from finding a husband. And the problem with that statement is, wait, so we're not supposed to say that? As Black people, we not supposed to tell Black women when they being antisocial and they messing up everything? Ooh, goddamn, Z. She don't owe you being married to a Black man. You right. Then stay single and shut the hell up then. Mr. Young only said what was supposed to be said. And the young man you played as the example only said what needed to be said. Which y'all think y'all above reproach? Oh, you think because you went to a lower tier Ivy, we're not supposed to critique you? Wait, what? The fascinating part about how a lot of women move, it's not exclusive to Black women, is like they don't say the thing, and then they think because they didn't exactly say the thing, like we can't read between the lines. I mean, maybe Z's doing too much because, you know, I ain't going to no damn Ivy. Community college dropout here. But like, madam, let me just say the thing. Let me not critique Mr. Young and then do what I critiqued him for. Okay, let me just say the thing. I don't think your actual issue is that he used classism instead of elitism. I think your actual issue is much of women's issue. Your actual issue is that y'all struggle to land the type of men y'all think y'all are deserving of. And so when any man ever critiques women, y'all throw a fit. Because your actual problem is real simple.
That's not fair. That is not fair! That is not fair!
Huh? And it's not just you, madam, and it's not just Black women. It's women who feel like they've accomplished a certain amount of accolades. They've done the things. They went to therapy. They went to the certain schools. They have the certain careers, right? They have a certain look. They're high society, high status. and they feel slighted by society, in our case as black people, by the black community, that what society and what the black community is telling them is that they are relegated because they are black women in our case, right? They have to resign themselves to ending up with loser, bum, lesser than them black men, and it's not fair.
That's not fair. That is not fair! That is not fair!
Huh? Like, madam, you didn't say the thing, but you kind of said the thing. And quite frankly, I think that's your real issue, even though you didn't say the thing. Just like how you said Mr. Young didn't say the thing, but he kind of said the thing. I'm saying you said the thing, but you kind of didn't say the thing. Or you kind of didn't say the thing, but you said the thing. Either way. Huh? Madam, we get it. We get it. It's not fair. You went to an Ivy. You attended an Ivy. You graduated from an Ivy. Huh? And you were in ultra elite spaces, maybe not the ultra of the ultra elite, once again going to the stratification that you were speaking of, but it's not fair. Just because you're a black woman, you got to be with the bum ass dudes, with the uneducated, or with the lower tier state school guys. Huh? I think that's really what informs you. I mean, if you're going to say that about Mr. Young, I'm just going to say that about you. I'm just saying. Huh? And we know it's a thing because Kim Foster said it, and I'm beating myself up because I just remembered it and I didn't have it as a reference point. God damn it. But Kim Foster even mentioned it on her channel, that especially in the black community, the Ivy League women got to deal with like the near Ivy League dudes. Then the near Ivy League women got to deal with like the kind of reputable school guys. Then the reputable school women got to deal with the state school guys. And then the state school women got to end up with the community college guys. And then the community college women, well, they end up with men that didn't go to community college or dropouts. So every tier of women got to poach the men that are a tier down because, you know, once again, it's always Jermaine's fault, and black men are like the dustiest of the dusty of the dusty. And if you want a black man, then you always gonna have to date a tier down, at least a tier down, right? So we know what informs this critique, right? And we even have something to reference it a bit, and how what the outcome eventually is going to be, and what Mr. Young was kind of speaking to, even if he didn't realize that's what he was speaking to. Z, you making a whole lot of assumptions here. I know. Continuing.
This is why everyone is single and men stop trying. This is the mouse paradise, a scientific experiment from the 1960s. They made the perfect world for mice with unlimited food, safety, and no predators. In the beginning, they placed 4 females and 4 males and let them multiply. The population exploded, hundreds, then thousands. Then something strange happened. They stopped mating. And within 4 years, they were extinct. But why? According to scientists, the reason was social interaction overload. Just like humans on social media today. They were in 24/7 interaction with thousands of others. Too much stimulation, too much competition for social status, and this led them to lose the ability to...
Wait a minute, Mr. Air sounding voice guy. Wait a minute. He said too much competition for what now? Social status. Oh, who would have thunk it? Continuing.
This is why everyone is single and men stop trying. This is the mouse paradise, a scientific experiment from the 1960s. They made the perfect world for mice with unlimited food, safety, and no predators. In the beginning, they placed 4 females and 4 males and let them multiply. The population exploded, hundreds, then thousands. Then something strange happened. They stopped mating. And within 4 years, they were extinct. But why? According to scientists, the reason was social interaction overload, just like humans on social media today. They were in 24/7 interaction with thousands of others. Too much stimulation, too much competition for social status, and this led them to lose the ability to form bonds, to mate and raise their young. Many males became so-called the beautiful ones. They lost interest in females. They just groomed themselves all day and withdrew.
Wait a minute. The males became the beautiful ones. Shout out to Neymar. The males became the beautiful ones. They just groomed themselves all day. Translation, played video games and jacking off all day. Doing their hobbies. Hanging out with friends. Staying the hell away from the women folk. Well, damn. Tell me again about them ultra elite spaces again, and yeah, continuing.
This is why everyone is single and men stop trying. This is the mouse paradise, a scientific experiment from the 1960s. They made the perfect world for mice with unlimited food, safety, and no predators. In the beginning, they placed 4 females and 4 males and let them multiply. The population exploded, hundreds, then thousands. Then something strange happened. They stopped mating. And within 4 years, they were extinct. But why? According to scientists, the reason was social interaction overload, just like humans on social media today. They were in 24/7 interaction with thousands of others. Too much stimulation, too much competition for social status, and this led them to lose the ability to form bonds, to mate and raise their young. Many males became so-called the beautiful ones. They lost interest in females. They just groomed themselves all day and withdrew completely because they could not compete in this chaos anymore. And the females followed by losing interest in males. So no mating, and they all just died without having babies. Since 2010 and smartphones, humans are living the same social interaction overload. 24/7 status competition, income and lifestyle comparison with thousands of others, physical looks to impossible standards. And many young people just choose to withdraw. For the first time in history, young people are having less sex than their parents. 30% of men under 30 had no sex for a year. Loneliness epidemic hits us harder than any virus could. You know, the mice couldn't turn this off, but you can.
Maybe Eastern European sounding. Anyway, so yeah. See, me and my limited education YouTube degree over here, Mr. YouTube degree, is saying maybe it's bigger, and I'm actually going to check out her page to see if she does get into that type of conversation, the more macro environmental conversation, or if we just gonna find little snarky ways to poke at black men who talk about classism and how classism is keeping a bunch of us black folks single. And admittedly, yeah, he should have said elitism instead of classism. Either way, huh? Do we want to have the macro conversation? Maybe we don't want to have the macro conversations because we might have to indict the ladies a little bit, just a smidge, just a teeny tiny bit. Uh-oh.
The wealthy will not marry you, and here's why. There's a term for this in economics, and it's called assortative mating. It's a tendency for people to marry others like themselves, high earners with high earners, college grads with college grads, and over the last few decades, the pattern has intensified. People don't choose partners from the entire population, they choose from people they actually meet. People from the same schools, same jobs, same cities. So marriage stops being random and becomes a lot more predictable. And this has consequences. Wealth doesn't come from income alone, it comes from stability, from true salaries instead of one, from shared risk, from access to better neighborhoods, better schools, and better networks. That's how advantage compounds. This is why today, who you marry matters almost as much as what you do. Why upward mobility feels harder, and why effort alone is not enough to close the gap. Once assortative mating sets in, it reinforces itself. Children grow up in healthier homes, they get better education, they move to the same expensive cities, they meet people just like them, and they marry each other. So when people say anyone can make it, they're ignoring a part of the system that matters deeply. So if you feel like this economy isn't built for you, it's because in some ways it isn't. And it's not because we're failing as individuals, it's because wealth is concentrating 2 people at a time.
Yeah. Madam, it's just something to consider. I'm gonna check out your channel on TikTok if I can. Try to find a way. But we will see if you have a more macro analysis or reading of what Mr. Young said. It's a thing. And no one's telling Ivy League educated black women to end up with the groundskeep, right? No offense to the groundkeeper dudes. With that, this kind of like hypersensitive reaction that you often see from black women in particular when it comes to conversation about status and education and class and income, right? Wealth. It is, and it does come off as, madam, I can't tell you what it is, but I can tell you what it looked like. It does come off as, and it does look like what the ladies feel is that someone's telling them to lower their standards. It's always a talk of lowering your standards. It's always that talk. Most black people don't got nothing. And for those of you that do, trust, we don't expect you to quote unquote lower your standards. As a matter of fact, we expect you to be snobby assholes, and y'all don't disappoint. To be frank, especially the women. Oh, we expect college educated, especially Ivy League. Oh, Ivy League educated black women. Oh, we expect y'all to be the snobbiest of the snobs with your nose so far up the air it catches planets. And y'all don't disappoint once again. I just want someone to tell Z he lying. Huh? So, madam, no one is telling you to stoop so low to even reply to Z, but definitely stoop so low than to end up with the everyday average black man. You might pull it for a white man, though. Oops. Anyway. Huh? No one is saying that. There's this like deathly fear from black women, particularly obviously elite black women. We're not just speaking about your everyday college educated black women. We're the elites, the ones that went to the schools, right? They have the careers, they have the status, they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. No one is telling you, ladies, to stoop so low to end up with whoever you think you're above, whoever is beneath you. But there is this like fear, death fear from black women in particular, but to be fair, from all women who of a certain status. It's like, I did all of this to end up with him? Huh? Oh, man. Ladies, I promise you, your everyday black man is not even, first of all, he's not even in the same circles as you. First, before we even get to it. Secondly, more than likely, just like you're not attracted or find him appealing, he doesn't find you attractive or appealing. And if he does, if he attempts to shoot his shot, all you have to say is, I'm not interested. We're not white dudes. We're not going to make you disappear. God damn, Z, you said that out loud. I know. Huh? And we're not even in the 90s anymore with the weirdo stereotype about a dude cursing you out because you turned him down. Cut it out. We don't do that anymore. That's not even that we did it in the first place. But for the few that did, it's not a thing anymore. Relax, ladies. You can say no. Right? So I just wanted to spend a few minutes, 30 minutes. Z, I know. I wanted to spend a few minutes covering this again. Huh? Covering this again because the young lady sounds like she feels so slighted. Ladies, we are not telling elite black women to end up with bum black dudes. Go find somebody's nephew who's sleeping on his mother's couch with no job and hasn't taken a shower in 3 days, 4 days, a week, and turn him into an honest husband. No one's telling you that. Wow. It's okay, ladies. Go enjoy your single life or enjoy your situation, relation, whatever the hell with the whatever man, probably not black. And good luck on your travels. And on that note, we'll pause right there. Let's play the clip that started this off with the Shayna conversation. And yeah, we'll start off there. So anyway, like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And Mr. Z didn't do his fair use earlier. Fair use, fair use. Fair use, fair use. Oh, and talking about that, and yes, this is from AI. Yes, this is from AI, but I think it did a really good summary. And it speaks about the difference between classism and elitism. And it says both involve social hierarchy, but with different focuses. Elitism is the belief that small superior group defined by intelligence, talent, or education should hold power, whereas classism is prejudice or discrimination against people based on their lower socioeconomic status, wealth, or background. Right? This is reading smooth right now. So I think it's a great summary. Yes, it's AI generated, so take that. But I think this is a great summary of the difference between classism and elitism, or elitism and classism, as it says in the top. Either way, we understood what Mr. Young's message was, right? I get what he was trying to say. It makes sense. Ladies, you don't owe the men choosing them. You don't owe the men even considering them for any type of spouse, boyfriend, husband, none of it. We appreciate that. No one's saying that. We are saying that being very, very, very strict with your ideas of who's suitable, no one's telling you to open them, might be a reason why you're single. And that's okay if it's okay with you. But if it's not okay with you, we can tell. we can see it. Even if you don't say it, we can see it. Right? And thank you for that. I'm listening. And I'm listening says, get the likes up. True indeed. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Right? So let's get underway. Let's get underway. So we will be responding. Well, we will be playing this, and then Shayna got commentary for it, and we will be responding to Shayna's commentary.
I'm going to show you 2 videos, one right after another, and then we're going to talk. Here's video number 1.
I'm 24. I've never dated anyone, and before you speak, if you've ever been in a relationship, I don't want your fucking opinion. I don't want to hear your fucking opinion about how I need friendship and community and to love myself. I don't want to hear your fucking opinion. If you haven't dated anyone in 10 years plus, you can speak, but quietly. Don't speak too much. Now, my bitches that have never been in a relationship, no talking stages, no situationships, nothing, to the front. I want to hear your voices. Everyone else, be quiet or shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. I don't need love. I love myself. I don't need friends. I have friends and I love them and we're great. When I talk about things related to being single my whole life, like, God, the fucking shit that I get is so ridiculous. So I don't want to hear it unless you've also been single your whole life.
Now, here's video number 2.
I'm chronically single because I'm chronically unimpressed with men. For years, never having a boyfriend used to be like my biggest insecurity. I'll be 28 next week, never had a boyfriend. And if you would have told me at 18 that at 28 I still would have never had a boyfriend, I probably would have fell to my knees, throwing up, crying, ready to off myself, because I genuinely used to believe that something was wrong with me. I used to genuinely believe in the bottom of my heart, something must be wrong with me if all of my peers seem to be dating, seem to be getting boyfriends, having relationships, and now at my age getting engaged. Something must be wrong with me if I'm not doing that, right? And I realized over the last few years, after going out on dates, doing the dating apps, situationships, and, you know, guy approaches you at a bar, all the shit, right? Just other than boyfriend, girlfriend. As I've gotten older and done that, I've realized that men don't know how to date. They don't. It's a very small, like 1 out of every 750,000 men know how to date. They know how to plan a date. They know how to talk to women. They know how to approach women. They know how to hold a conversation. Just the most basic, bare minimum things. I feel like bare minimum is still too high the bar. Like it is just, it's how to be a human in a way. Like they don't know how to do that. And I should not be questioning my self-worth over the fact that men fall short in something. You know what I mean? And to be fair, it took me years to come to this conclusion. So I totally get that there are a lot of women and girls out there who still struggle and are still questioning themselves and their self-worth and have a lot of self-doubt over this, because being chronically single at a young age will fuck you up. It will. And honestly, as you get older, it will continue to fuck you up until honestly, I was about 26 when I came to this conclusion. But it used to be a huge insecurity for me. And now that I've been able to kind of pinpoint what the issue is in dating, I'm like, why the fuck should I feel insecure about this? And just to be clear, even though I'm chronically unimpressed with men, I do mourn the fact that I've never experienced true romance. Like that is something that I long for in a way, but kind of like in the way of a little girl longs for Prince Charming. You know what I mean? Like it's like a fantasy, you know, like I just don't truly believe that's out there. You know, never say never, but it's not something that is actively bothering me in my life anymore. And it's refreshing. It's also a bit disappointing, but I feel like I have peace to just move on now. And just to be clear, I am in no way invalidating women's experiences who don't have the same mindset as me, because I get it and I agree with everything I've seen. It is almost like a humiliation ritual to constantly see some of your friends bounce in and out of relationships like that, but it's damn near impossible for you, right? It's frustrating, and I feel like jealous isn't the right word, but it is a shitty feeling overall, right? So I get it, and I've agreed with every single take I've seen. It's a shitty feeling, and I hope that I don't know. It sucks, and hopefully this video helps someone. Also, a lot of times I'll see in the comments of those videos of women who are chronically single, other women being like, oh, well, have you thought about dating women? You might be a lesbian. I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this, y'all, but some women are unfortunately straight. It sucks. Again, I just explained why it sucks being attracted to men. But the reality is that there are a good chunk of women who are straight, and we have no interest in dating women. And that's okay, and I think it's proof that sexuality is not a choice, because I would not choose to deal with this.
Yeah. And Afro Merchant says, chronically unimpressed with men sounds like a you problem, but that's not how it's framed by individual women, particularly Black women, and overall society. We critique men. We critique men for not being suitable enough partners for our daughters, right? Now, our daughters are infallible. Remember this, Mr. Z always says, particularly in the Black community, Black women are infallible in relationship to Black men. They can do no wrong. So our critique will always be reserved for the men and the boys. Always. Huh? So her being chronically unimpressed by the men, it's never a her problem. We never speak about the fact that women fundamentally don't want to do their part in the game of equality. Now they're finding interesting ways of trying to skirt that. They'll speak about emotional intelligence. They'll speak about domestic labor, right? But the women don't want to be honest with the talking heads, the pundits, the technocrats, right? That fundamentally, I don't care what, I want whatever man I deal with to earn more than me. The women aren't just coming straight up the middle and saying, well, this.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
Are you single?
Yes.
Why are you single right now?
Because the men are not enough rich to take care of me.
So you're looking for a rich man?
Yes. Yes, I want to be spoiled.
Why does he have to be rich?
Because I want to be spoiled. Because I make my own money and I need to be dominated.
That's simple, everyone. Life could be so much simpler if the ladies would just say this. Huh? If they would just say the quiet part out loud. But instead, we have to speak about how the ladies are chronically unimpressed by the men in the dating scene, and when they come into terms with, no, it's nothing that we were saying. It's that the men aren't good daters, right? That's what we're told. The men are not good daters. The men are not good to date. That's what we're told. So let's get underway with Shayna and her commentary.
And this is why they want young girls, young women, people that are still in their developmental stages to enter into long-term contracted relationships with men. You see the difference that a couple of years will do? A couple of years of objectively understanding the environment that you are in, along with allowing your brain to continue to grow and explore and learn and pay attention to the patterns around you instead of just being obsessed with the ideals, the images, the propaganda that you've been fed since you were.
And Mr. Z talking to himself. Of course he is. Have you ever considered, Shayna, that the second young lady, the 28-year-old, is just coping? Huh? It's not simply that the 28-year-old, her brain is developed now, and it's a few years later, and now she's understanding the dating scene, and this is why the men want the women young. Have you ever considered, Shayna, that, to be frank, the 28-year-old is just coping? She's coming up with excuses that won't crack her psyche. Huh? Have you ever considered that? Is that a possibility? Okay, fine. Mr. Z is a whole sexist asshole. Cool. Sexist misogynist. Shayna, entertain that for just a few minutes. That the 28-year-old and you, Shayna, oops, are just finding ways to cope with being chronically single. That y'all are coping with, and in your case, at least, Shayna, being somewhere on the spectrum. Huh? And that being one of the reasons why you might be single. Have you ever considered that? Is it always Jermaine's fault, Z? It is always Jermaine's fault, Z. True indeed, true indeed. Continue.
Now, this is no heat, no judgment to the first creator. She has since come out with a couple other videos, and I think one of her videos, she was talking about how she was one of those kids and young women that were one of those young women who constantly ingested romantic media, from the books to the rom-coms to the movies to the series to that was a thing that was a kind of media that she was always ingesting, and it created an ideal of what she expected a version of her future to look like.
And that is a perfect time, right, to play this.
Rom-coms used to tell men you're lovable as you are. Now they tell everyone if you're not elite, don't bother. You see, we didn't just change casting, we rewired expectations. Adam Sandler, Tom Cruise, Bruce Willis, Mike Myers, Jack Black, Michael J. Fox, Steve Carell, John Cusack, Ben Stiller, Seth Rogen, Billy Crystal, LL Cool J, Kevin Hart, Nicolas Cage, even the guys on Friends. Short guys, dad bods, balding guys, awkward guys, funny guys, men with blue-collar jobs, men you could actually imagine knowing. Rom-coms used to sell something radical. You don't have to be perfect to be lovable. Compare that to today. I'm fine with Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell falling in love, but when every romantic lead looks like a Marvel casting call, something breaks. Hallmark hunks, Netflix hunks, Instagram filter hunks. Take Emily in Paris. The young women are smart and attractive, but struggling to make a name for themselves and pay rent. And yet somehow they can't seem to settle down with supermodel men who are well-dressed and accomplished Michelin star chefs and multi-millionaire heirs to their parents' fashion empires. One of the central characters, Sylvie, is a 62-year-old woman married to a handsome man who is 8 years younger than her, which is fine, but she also keeps hooking up with a 6'3" male model half her age. This is also the plot of every romance novel. A simple, average girl somehow catches the attention of a handsome prince. I get it. It's female fantasy, but it's also aspirational in all the wrong kind of ways. And we're seeing the effects in real life. Dating app data consistently shows that women overwhelmingly swipe on a small fraction of men. Tall, high-income, conventionally handsome men. A single guy who's over 6 feet and makes over $100,000 is a statistical anomaly, yet that's become the baseline expectation. So what happens when women who are 7s and 8s hold out for 9s and 10s? Men who are 6s and 7s opt out entirely, and everyone feels like something is wrong. Our brains are prediction machines. The media we consume trains what we expect and what we think we deserve. For the first time in modern history, fewer women say they want to get married than men. More people are living alone. Loneliness rates are exploding. This isn't about blaming women, and it's not about shaming men. It's about culture that stopped celebrating character and started selling unattainable ideals. We don't just need fewer attractive people on screen. We need equal pairings that feel realistic. Give us short kings. Give us plumbers, teachers, and social workers, not heirs to European wine empires. Give us men without six-packs and women without filters. Because when media teaches people that love only happens at the top 1%, everyone else gives up. And that's not romance. That's a recipe for cynicism and loneliness.
But we're not done.
Dating apps made women much pickier, but men way less picky. And here's why. Before apps, guys had to approach women in person. That took guts and risk of rejection. So men were careful. They went for women they thought they had a chance with. For women, they've always ranked men and aimed for the best they could get. But options were limited. Just people from school, work, or friends. And a guy who's not in the top could still win her over with his confidence. Then dating apps happened. For guys, swiping right costs nothing. No effort, no risk. So men started swiping on more. Women rank guys the same way, but they are picking from thousands of profiles. And everyone's ranking the same way, so more women end up chasing the same guys. Regular guys get swiped left before they even have a chance to show who they are. Same instincts, different game. Results? Messed up dating scene. Does this sound right to you? Leave a comment.
But we're still not done yet.
This is why everyone is single and men stop trying. This is the mouse paradise, a scientific experiment from the 1960s. They made the perfect world for mice with unlimited food, safety, and no predators. In the beginning, they placed 4 females and 4 males and let them multiply. The population exploded, hundreds, then thousands. Then something strange happened. They stopped mating. And within 4 years, they were extinct. But why? According to scientists, the reason was social interaction overload. Just like humans on social media today. They were in 24/7 interaction with thousands of others. Too much stimulation, too much competition for social status, and this led them to lose the...
Yeah. I gotta play it again because I ended it too early. I'm sorry, y'all.
This is why everyone is single and men stop trying. This is the mouse paradise, a scientific experiment from the 1960s. They made the perfect world for mice with unlimited food, safety, and no predators. In the beginning, they placed 4 females and 4 males and let them multiply. The population exploded, hundreds, then thousands. Then something strange happened. They stopped mating. And within 4 years, they were extinct. But why? According to scientists, the reason was social interaction overload. Just like humans on social media today. They were in 24/7 interaction with thousands of others. Too much stimulation, too much competition for social status, and this led them to lose the ability to form bonds, to mate and raise their young. Many males became so-called the beautiful ones. They lost interest in females. They just groomed.
Yeah. So once again, Shayna, the men become the beautiful ones, and when I still ended it too early, what he goes on to say is, yeah, they just groom themselves all day. They go find a nice, comfortable place away from all the chaos and get away from all the other mice, and groom themselves all day. Yeah. Shayna, when human women become absolutely delusional with their standards and they start saying their insane standards are the bare minimum, your average man just says, okay, you know what, I'm out. I'm out. Now, on a one-to-one basis, that's not a problem. Scale that, though. scale that across millions, now you have a problem. Shayna, are y'all really looking at this macro? It's like y'all handpick certain articles to make certain points. Look, Z knows the game. Z has his channel. But Shayna, not all the data says it's all the men's fault. And I see y'all stay way far from the stuff that is essentially saying, because even they have to play patty cake with the women's feelings. The environment and the women are delusional. See, when we scale this, then we got a problem. See, it's not the individual woman, but then when we multiply, the individual delusional woman times thousands times millions, we got a problem. A major problem. So it's not the individual Disney-fied woman. It's the individual Disney-fied woman times thousands and millions. Times tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions. Now you have a problem. Huh? Z, you gonna play the wisecrack clip? Yep. Y'all hold on.
If this struck you as unusual when you were watching the series, that's because it was. In scholar Richard Bush's study of 262 so-called domestic situation comedies from 1946 to 1990 at least, he found that just 11% featured heads of household who were working class, i.e. doing blue-collar, clerical, or service work. Malcolm's father, and future drug lord as you may remember, plays a low-level clerical worker. This is despite the fact that most American workers qualify as working class. Back in 1976, scholars Gerbner and Gross addressed this still relevant trend, calling the exclusion of working class families from television a symbolic annihilation of America's economic realities. The problem is especially bad on children's television, where a scant 2% of characters are depicted as working class. Now, this isn't exactly a coincidence. Showing stable middle and upper class families is good for business, especially if you're making a family-friendly sitcom. And the reason is simple: commercials. According to scholars Zieglinde Lemke and Wibke Schneiderman, as a form of mass entertainment financed by selling commercials to middle-class consumers, it seems logical that the predominant mode of representing class presupposes middle-class normativity. That is to say, watching the kid's skin stick to the seat in a rundown car with a broken radiator doesn't exactly put you in the mood to splurge on that cool new vacuum cleaner or a fancy bottle of cologne. In comparison, watching the Huxtables hang out in a brownstone while modeling yet another sick sweater from a seemingly endless pile brings viewers a sense of economic plenty that they might not feel in their day-to-day lives. Now, obviously, Malcolm in the Middle wasn't the first show to peddle an economic angst.
I'll tell you what they're going to pay you. They're going to pay you what all jobs pay. Less than you're worth, and just enough to keep you crawling back for more.
We saw this as far back as the 50s with the Honeymooners, while the mid-70s brought Laverne and Shirley, and the late 80s saw the debut of America's most famous working-class family on Roseanne. But for anyone with enough business savvy, it just didn't seem financially smart to make a family or children's show about bringing your leftover egg breakfast to school for lunch.
What do you have? Leftover eggs from breakfast?
Which brings us to Disney. In a moment, that is. First, we have to look at 1980, when a broad cultural phenomenon began, the Reagan-era loosening of restrictions on entertainment regulations, including advertising during children's television programming. Now, after a major 70s-era crackdown on advertising to kids, you could only show a limited amount of commercials during children's programming, and were also required to produce educational and informative content for kids. When President Reagan and co. had essentially signed or vetoed all that away by 1984, things changed rapidly. A year after regulation, all of the top 10 best-selling toys had their own TV show. While child-centric product placement had occurred during television's early days, that was really no comparison to this new reality. The insane proliferation of TV character-aligned merchandising was dubbed the Strawberry Shortcake Strategy by Tom Engelhardt. That's thanks to the 1980 show's explosions of licensed dolls, video games, stickers, lunchboxes, and so on. And that reliance on branding would continue to increase from the 90s and on, as corporations realized what a valuable consumer demographic children could be. And though a 1990 congressional bill had reinstated some restrictions on such advertising, the industry had been changed forever. Increasingly, merchandising centered on children's television characters began blurring the line between consuming entertainment and just plain consumerism. And we're not trying to demonize your favorite Lizzie McGuire lunchbox. It's just a little weird. Which is why families like Malcolm in the Middle aren't the norm for places like the Disney Channel. While they didn't start making original live-action shows until the late 90s, they came in hard, quickly crafting what journalists Julia Borston and Alinda Wheat call a tween machine, in which pre-teenagers, and in this case primarily girls, were targeted through lifestyle marketing like the world had never seen. As scholar Morgan Genevieve notes, the marketing was part and parcel with the programming decisions themselves, explaining that Disney Channel personnel worked closely with Disney Consumer Products and Disney Music Group to extend the network's fictional narratives across a variety of media and merchandise for tween girls. This was in order to effectively essentially creep into the lives and life spaces of kids beyond the TV network. And that's according to a presentation given by President and CCO of Disney branded television, Gary Marsh himself. And the way they did it, mostly through appeals to girl consumers. As Blue explains, characters like Hannah Montana promote representations of aspirational celebrity and teen life via fashion and dress up and musical performances. And this way, according to Blue, franchisable girl star persona both reflects and perpetuates a neoliberal turn in the United States, which privileges a performative and celebrity-oriented form of girlhood as the contemporary ideal, i.e. a girl who has all the products she needs to look and behave a certain way. In the aughts, this often took the form of sparkly clothes, as best seen in Disney's unprecedentedly large expansion into Walmart stores with clothing and lifestyle lines specifically marketed to middle and working class girls. By 2014, Disney was racking in $3.99 billion of revenue in consumer products alone, driven largely by Disney Channel merchandise. The franchise element of the Disney Channel explains why programmers need to make shows about securely middle-class families. Doing so both doesn't alienate working-class viewers, while also painting a fantasy of magical middle-classdom where money is never a problem and consumption is a high priority. That is to say, the family on Wizards of Waverly Place may run a humble sandwich shop, but their apartment sure doesn't look that way. As Blue puts it, Disney's texts, products, and promotions may allay anxieties over vast systematic inequalities, in large part by painting an image of a world where families aren't struggling to make ends meet. This, of course, requires ignoring realities, like the fact that 14.4% of American children were growing up below the poverty line as of 2019.
I actually am worried about the future because I just want us to be good and don't have to worry about how we're going to get the next thing or how we're going to get food.
Of course, it's not just Disney and it's not just tween girls being targeted. Cartoon shows like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and The Smurfs were extended through a huge amount of licensed merchandising tie-ins, ranging from films to comics and books to computer games. Scholar Marcia Kinder observed back in 1991 that this transmedia intertextuality effectively eliminates any distinction between the original text, i.e. the show, and the spin-off text and commodities that bank on the show's success, which may be a large reason why children's and family television typically finds its comfort zone in middle to upper middle class bliss, where the biggest problem is your family photo shoot coming out squeaky clean. And there's nothing wrong with that. We love these shows. But it does present a skewed perspective of what American life is like. As Stile Sakira and Larry Osi-Mensah put it, television serves as a tool that continues to mold the public consciousness, in part by fostering a single-minded interpretation of superficial symbolism as an indicator of status and equality. That is to say, by basically suggesting that the right house, the right toy, or the right sparkly outfit can bring you happiness and cement your status as happily middle class, TV reinforces
or the right spouse
status quo. No.
Huh? Shayna, they been had y'all minds. Huh? Shayna, y'all belong to, Future says she belonged to the streets. No, she belonged to the rich white elite man. The rich white elite execs, screenwriters, playwrights, the authors of rom-coms. Huh? LVMH. That's who she belonged to. She don't belong to the streets. Well, she actually does belong to the streets also, but she belonged to what's his name, Bernard Arnault, right? The head of LVMH, if Mr. Z could pronounce it correctly. Yeah, and she belonged to BMW and Benz, huh? Or Tesla, I guess. Ooh, y'all belong to Elon. Ew. Shayna, they been had y'all minds. Continuing.
Meanwhile, and I have a whole video right up here about how romance, and the way that we understand it, was an invention. Was very specifically a French invention to allow men of a lesser status access to women of a higher status. And then once people started to realize, oh wow, we could get access to women that we never would have been able to before, let's take the show on the road. And now here we are. So this in its own way, and that's not saying that people can't fall in love. People fall in love all the time. All the time people fall in love. How often? Not for me to say. I will.
Y'all notice she speak once again. We went right back around to elitism. Every day, and I'm not saying the other young lady, the black young lady, darker skin that we covered earlier, graduated from Ivy. Okay, understandable, the elitism, cool. But it's very interesting hearing everyday black women talk as if they're elite women, and hearing elite black women, talk about themselves like they're gods. Once again, co-parter, number one. Number two, what Nick Young was speaking about that classism / elitism, right? Continuing.
The way that romance has been force-fed to generations is a system that needs to be dismantled in the mind, in the body, and yes, that will take a mourning period. There will be grief involved with that, especially if this was, if you believed the propaganda. No heat, no judgment. Listen, we all grew up as Disney kids. Well, not all, a lot of us. I know, I did anyway. But this also means
the confession. We all grew up as Disney kids. I know, I did. Yeah, madam, we could tell. The question is, here's the question, Shayna. Here's the question. When women, particularly black women in our case, when they don't achieve or get the lifestyle in the spouse that they at least thought was promised to them by the television shows and the movies and the rom-com books and the rom-com movies or the romantic books, and that were subtly suggested to them by their air quotes elders, how do women, and once again in our case black women, cope with not having those things that man? Huh? How do the ladies come to terms with not having that spouse? Whatever spouse you have in your imagination, how do the ladies deal with that? What I'm forwarding to you, Shayna, is they deal with it like how you're dealing with it. Coping. Making little snarky comments. You don't just resign yourself to being single. You snipe at the men. You encourage other women to be okay with being single, even though you know they're dying. Once again to the title, cope hard, cope harder. Continuing.
That has been force-fed specifically to women and girls, that means that even though this is an invention from hundreds of years ago, that doesn't mean that men actually learned the skills. They just learned the tricks of the trade to get access to women. And let's not forget that I'd like to say, what was that? Oh, my pen. So, I would like to say that the creators of romance in modern day romance fall under two categories. You have the women, generally the straight women, who are prolific romance writers, and they are creating worlds in which women are liked and loved because it is fantasy. They're creating fantastical worlds where women are regularly respected or respected enough by people that they would also be attracted to, where these people listen and protect and provide and create spaces where love can grow and form. But mind you, these are all works of fiction. We also have on the other side, which is where I think a lot of the Disneyfication of our ideas of romance come from, which are a lot of men in a room saying, what can we do to spoon feed the idea of a Prince Charming to the next generation? Let's make this as widespread as possible. And we're just going to keep pushing this out. We're just going to keep pushing this out. And
so you're speaking about the Gary Marshes of the world. Right? So once again, what Shayna is saying, if I hear her correctly, is that you have on one hand women who are creating these fictional like supermen, right? These fictional supermen, and that's what women gravitate to, or young women gravitate to. And then on the other hand, you have men who I guess are doing the research and are selling women on a fantasy of a Prince Charming and selling young women on a fantasy of Prince Charming. So this is what Shayna is speaking to, that the women are blindsided that the men aren't the fictional characters that they read in books. Or the fictional characters that they saw in movies. Yeah. Again, the title is Cope Hard and Cope Harder. The ladies need to go sit on a chair. They need to go seek some mental, psychological help because they have to come to terms with the fictional characters and personality archetype. You know, the kiss woman's ass archetype. You know, the she's never infallible archetype. Those characters in movies, books, music, television shows, yeah, the fact that those male characters, more often than not, male leads, are fictional, and that's not how real men think. Real men don't think it's always their fault. Real men don't apologize when it's not their fault. Real men don't think that women are infallible. The fact that these women are coming across real men, oh, it's the worst. They're nothing like the movies and the television shows and the books. Oh, how can I live on? Continuing.
Keep pushing this out. We're just going to keep pushing this out. And it wasn't until very recently, I think Brave was the first time that a Disney princess said, hey, I don't want to be married. Like, and by the end of the movie, she stood on that. But that wasn't until, like, I was much older. I don't know if I was still a teen at that point or if I was an adult, but for generations, it was just, hey, get married. Hey, find this prince. Hey, your life is going to be better. Hey, and that's all we had. But this idea of being independent romantically, this idea of being financially independent, of being happy and single is very, very new at a larger scale. Before this moment in time, they were the spinsters. They were the witches. They were the outcasts of society. Or we flip the script, and which turns into a lot of Black stereotypes of the magical Negro, of the oracle, of the, oh, well, they're not even a sexual, sensual being. They're just here to provide information for other people. So they don't have to think about companionship in that way because their job isn't to enrich the lives of others through the knowledge that they have either been inherited or that have either been passed down to them or that they've acquired. But the idea of a magical Negro or an oracle in community, even intimate community, is not a thing that is explored. So once again, another version of an outcast. And I don't think that this, once again, I don't know the first lady. I don't know the first lady. It is giving that maybe she doesn't talk to enough men, not even romantically. I told a friend of mine many.
Let me pause her right there before she goes into that story. So, Shayna, I would caution you and say, be careful what you wish for. I don't know if you're paying attention, Shayna, but Black women in specific have been being sold happy single life for decades. How is that working for Black women? Shayna, some of those same women are coming back and telling us how much they wish they were in relationship. The women that played in those roles in those movies and those television shows, Taraji B. Henson, Vivica A. Fox, huh? They're telling us how much they wish they were in relationship. Shayna, what you're asking for, Black women or excuse me, Black women are already living. Mr. Z getting all his words mixed up. Black women are already living that. The movies in the Black community, huh? The fan fave Black movies have been portraying Black women single and happy for decades. What are you talking about? The movies have already been portraying Black men as dithering idiots for decades. You forgot? Waiting to Excel just walked in the room. You forgot? Shayna, what you're saying has been being portrayed to Black women in specific for decades. The happy negress that's highly sexual, she's a sexual being, but she's happy being single and she's just living her life. Huh? Wait, we haven't been having movies like that portraying Black women that way for decades? Huh? Single Black women who are happy being single, maybe making everybody else's life miserable. Deliverance Eva just walked in the room. Wait, what? Two could play that game? No, no. Sexual beings playing sexual games? For the black community in specific, black women in specific, what you're speaking about, where why do we have to keep on portraying black women as these kind of non-sexual, asexual beings? Or they're kind of single but miserable being single, or they're hypersexual but it's because of some past trauma. No, we've been portraying black women as sexually powerful and liberated beings doing whatever the hell they want to do for decades. Maybe white women weren't necessarily getting that until maybe the 90s or 2000s, but black women have been being portrayed that way for decades. I mean, have you seen the current crop of female rappers, Shayna? Black female rappers? Who in the world would say those women don't sound like, look like, air quotes, sexual liberation? Z, you definitely not gonna get no green arrow on this video. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And speaking about that, Otis says these women are femcells. They really mirror white men. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, the framing, and I guess that's what happens when you think you're infallible and you represent a group of marginalized, morally superior, infallible, right side of history people, right? When you make the assumption that you're automatically on the right side of history, you have the better view of history, you stand on the right side of justice. Yeah, right. And I would argue the reason why Shayna and a number of other black women have this sort of arrogance about them, this aura of like, but we right though, and that's not exclusive to black women, but once you start getting into like the realm of relationships and anything that has to do with who is more correct about their reading of history, morality, human behavior, what fuels and informs, I would argue, the majority of black women is this idea that they stand on the right side of history because of intersectionality. Being black plus woman makes them a more marginalized group. And so to deal with that society, they have to read people, events, history correctly. And in that, they have a better reading of people, history, events, etc. So black women can't be femcells. They're just accurately reading the tea leaves. And Otis, once again, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. And Apollos, let me know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, says, I see why they weren't given credit cards. Oh boy. No, I am for women, particularly black women, having every single right in dealing with the consequences of exercising every single right without the guardrails. Without the guardrails. No more blaming men, right? No more it's always Jermaine's fault. Huh? No more softer sentences when they violate laws and no, the prisons are too overfilled for the women and we didn't build enough prisons for women, so we're just gonna commute her sentence, or we're just gonna, give her a tap on the wrist. No, no, no. Right? Yeah. Huh? So I'm not about women not having the right to vote, not having credit cards, not no, no, no. Let the ladies have everything the men have and eat the consequences the way the men have to. Huh? Eat the consequences the same as the men have to. Huh? And I mean that in intimate, personal situations, all the way to the macro, from the micro to the macro. And Apollos, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Continuing.
Many years ago, when she was like, Shane, I think I really want to get out there. I really want to put myself out there. I think it's time for me to find a husband. And I think I want to give dating another try. And yeah, I think I need to get into community with men again. So that way I could feel what that is. And I'm like, you know what? You go find a safe space to talk to men. It ended up being a gym for her. I was like, you go and you find a safe space to talk to men. And you will be repulsed. I encouraged her.
Shout out to all of you who keep saying men like personality, men are not likable. Shane is saying now men are repulsive. See, when men speak and men are bitter and men are angry and men are hurt, we mock them. We make fun of them. We poke fun of them. We call them all type of losers and all type of INCELS, right? Spell that out. Y'all know the word. Z, but you just said the female equivalent. I know. You two probably don't even count it. With that, we make fun of them and we mock them. But when it's a bitter woman trying to hide behind female advocacy, using terms like autonomy and freedom and liberation, we don't call them the little bitter troll they are. They can go on to say men are repulsive. And we don't call them the little bitter loser troll that they are. We give them grace. We give them space. Huh? Continuing.
Place where you can listen to men's thoughts. You be in community with them and then come back to me. There's a reason why the male loneliness epidemic is a thing that they will not shut up about, because they are lonely in community with each other. They don't know how to.
The male loneliness epidemic is a ruse. Men are commiserating on the internet and on social media. Men are not women. Men will never be women. And women don't want men to be, wait for it, women. Shayna, I can find just as many videos of women. Shayna, literally the video you are reviewing is a woman, a 24-year-old young lady, lamenting being single at 24. Did you forget what you're reviewing? Shayna, you know how many videos I have right now? I don't want to torture my subscribers. I still have them. They're ready, by the way, of women complaining about being single. God damn it, Z.
Ever reason I'm just not allowed to experience love from another person.
Another night, going home alone. This single life.
Personally, I am done with all women-centered events in 2025.
You know what I'm getting real sick and tired of? Being single.
I am tired of the amount of gaslighting us single people have to go through. Because let's be honest, a lot of the things that are
Black women do not be having the options that they say they got. And before you jump in my comments, no, I don't have a man. No, I don't have options, okay? So
y'all want to come in my comments talking about male-centered, decenter men. You know who I'm decentering? I'm decentering you.
Shayna, and I have more where that came from. Shayna, you want to talk about the male loneliness epidemic? Shayna, you know how many of these I have saved? Huh?
Okay, I have one more thought that I have to get up as the sun is rising. Okay. Sometimes we lie to ourselves. And I've been doing that for quite some time now. And I'm 32 this year. And it's almost the end of the year, so I'll be 33. And I'm just not about to go into 33 lying. So I'm going to be one of the first hard up type of women to admit that I want a man. I may actually need a man.
Shayna, there's so many of them on the internet and on social media, Shayna. Particularly Black women. You want to talk about loneliness epidemic? Why? Because they put a name to it for the men? Shayna, do you even understand the class game that the elites are playing, but they're hiding behind the gender war? Do you get it? I thought these were supposed to be the educated, smart ones. Oh, I forgot. You're playing gender war, point scoring, right? Oh, you keeping score on the gender war, Mr. Z Ryman. So you don't really appreciate that this is a larger class warfare game. Oh, wait, Mr. Z just with his conspiracy theories. Yeah, that's it. Huh? You don't get it. And on that note, Apollo says, white men aren't going to allow them to destroy their country. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's not. Look, what's going to happen, but it always leaks out into white society, into larger society, is these weirdos will be relegated to the outskirts of cities to do their Brendok Coven, Gypsy Roma class thing. Their airy fairy, whatever the hell they believe in, whatever spiritual system they want to practice and believe in. Yeah. And they could be as sexually liberated as they want to be with their UBI checks, living in the outskirts of cities away from the general population. Huh? Living in the exurbs. I agree with you, Apollos. White men are not going to, they're not going to allow for this to be what destroys their society. White dudes have a lot to deal with right now. Last thing they're going to allow to bring them down is some, in their minds, and they really believe this, wayward Black women whispering in the ears of white women and corrupting white women. First, Black women are not corrupting white women. White women are doing whatever the hell they want to do. But Black women are so loud, they want to be the mascot for the insufferable middle finger up to the system, middle finger up to the men, laughing at men's misfortune. Gender war. They want to be the mascot for the gender war. And well, you wish so you shall receive. And Apollos, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. All right, and y'all gives you a second. And Joe's says, Black women, women in general, have been turned into human billboards. The idea of how accessible and abundant a lifestyle is. Look, that's why I played the Mouse Utopia clip, also known as the Calhoun experiment. Huh? And it has another term. Was it called universe something? I can't remember what the other term for it is, but yeah, that's why I'm playing that. Because that status thing is heavy. The ladies live and die by that status thing. Play it again, Z.
This is why everyone is single and men stop trying. This is the mouse paradise, a scientific experiment from the 1960s. They made the perfect world for mice with unlimited food, safety, and no predators. In the beginning, they placed 4 females and 4 males and let them multiply. The population exploded, hundreds, then thousands. Then something strange happened. They stopped mating. And within 4 years, they were extinct. But why? According to scientists, the reason was social interaction overload, just like humans on social media today. They were in 24/7 interaction with thousands of others. Too much stimulation, too much competition for social status, and this led them to lose the ability to form bonds, to mate and raise their young. Many males became so-called the beautiful ones. They lost interest in females. They just groomed themselves all day and withdrew completely because they could not compete in this chaos anymore. And the females followed by losing interest in males. So no mating, and they all just died without.
We're tied by the hip. Notice what he said. The males became the beautiful ones. So the males were the first ones to say, yeah, I'm not playing this game. INCLS, anyone? Hikikomori in Japan, anyone? Huh? Mainly being men, once again. And then what happens? The women follow suit. You damn right. We're attached by the hip. What you think you gonna be successful while the men just flounder? Yeah. I don't know what book or movie or television show you watched that on. Huh? So going to what Joe says, this walking billboard, it's look, we are social creatures and human beings do care about status. I don't see us ever getting over that. It does matter. It does. We are social creatures. With that, what happens when you give that some steroids? What happened when you become status obsessed? Huh? As the young lady said earlier, what happens when you are obsessed with being in ultra elite spaces, ultra exclusive spaces? Rare is not good enough. Huh? What happens then? And Joe's, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Continuing
with each other. So why would we expect them at a large enough percentage to know how to be an intimate community with us? Why would we expect that of them? I don't expect a baby to know calculus. Now, every now and then there is a baby genius, a boss baby that comes around, and then I go, wow, that's an impressive baby. Give that baby a PhD, but I'm not expecting that of most babies. There is a demystifying of men that I think really happens efficiently once you are in community with them. Now, I've grown up in community with men. I only have brothers. I grew up, I had a lot of guy friends throughout all of my life. And then I went to college and I was like, please, lady friends. Then I continued to make lady friends and guy friends. And the wealth of information, and not just friends. Like I've had father and uncle figures, messy. I've had mentors, teachers, by and large, messy. Some good ones. Once again, every now and then you find a glimmering emerald in a poop storm. Every now and then. And I found a couple emeralds. I adore them. I appreciate them. I tell them all the time. And it's always a beautiful surprise when you happen to find one.
You know, the fascinating thing is listening to folks who urinate in the pool talking about other people urinating in the pool. The sex that does the breaking up, the divorcing, the breaking of families is the one always complaining about the poop storm. As if they're not pooping in the wind. Huh? It's always the people urinating in the pool talking about the color of the pool and why the pool done got warm all of a sudden. Huh? Let me make the reference again. The female matchmakers hate working with women. Not the male matchmakers. Not the female matchmakers hate working with men. No, they hate working with women, Shayna. Who's the problem, Shayna? Who's pooping in the wind and causing the poop storm? Huh? CeeLo and Trick Daddy and CeeLo said draw in the wind. No, poop in the wind. Who's pooping in the wind? Talk about a poop storm. Continuing.
But you have to understand that you are also standing in a poop storm. And it's not your fault you're in a poop storm. It's not your fault that there's diarrhea smeared across your face. You don't even know whose it is, and that probably makes it worse. You would love to be out of the poop storm. You would love to be in a field.
It's not your fault you're in a poop storm. No, ladies, it is your fault because you're the ones pooping in the wind. And she's not the only one because the young lady said something, the second young lady said something similar, and we're going to get to that. Y'all bear with.
I'm going to show you 2 videos, one right after another, and then we're going to talk. Here's video number 1. I'm 24. I've never dated anyone, and before you speak, if you've ever been in a relationship, I don't want your fucking opinion. I don't want to hear your fucking opinion about how I need friendship and community and to love myself. I don't want to hear your fucking opinion. If you haven't dated anyone in 10 years plus, you can speak, but quietly. Don't speak too much. Now, my bitches that have never been in a relationship, no talking stages, no situationships, nothing, to the front. I want to hear your voices. Everyone else, be quiet or shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. I don't need love. I love myself. I don't need friends. I have friends and I love them and we're great. When I talk about things related to being single my whole life, like, God, the fucking shit that I get is so ridiculous. So I don't want to hear it unless you've also been single your whole life. Now, here's video number 2.
I'm chronically single because I'm chronically unimpressed with men. For years, never having a boyfriend used to be like my biggest insecurity. I'll be 28 next week, never had a boyfriend. And if you would have told me at 18 that at 28 I still would have never had a boyfriend, I probably would have fell to my knees, throwing up, crying, ready to off myself because I genuinely used to believe that something was wrong with me. I used to genuinely believe in the bottom of my heart, something must be wrong with me if all of my peers seem to be dating, seem to be getting boyfriends, having relationships, and now at my age getting engaged. Something must be wrong with me if I'm not doing that, right? And I realized over the last few years after going out on dates, doing the dating apps, situationships, and, you know, guy approaches you at a bar, all the shit, right? Just other than boyfriend, girlfriend. As I've gotten older and done that, I've realized that men don't know how to date. They don't. It's a very small, like 1 out of every 750,000 men know how to date. They know how to plan a date. They know how to talk to women. They know how to approach women. They know how to hold a conversation. Just the most basic, bare minimum things. I feel like bare minimum is still too high the bar. Like it is just, it's how to be a human in a way. Like they don't know how to do that. And I should not be questioning my self-worth over the fact that men fall short in something. You know what I mean? And to be
And there you go. I shouldn't be questioning my self-worth because men fall short on something. It is never, ever, ever. The women are never contributing. Notice what Mr. Z said. I didn't say it's their fault fully. I said they're never contributing to the problem. They won't even they won't even go so far to say, you know what, maybe we contribute to this too. Maybe some of us are delusional. Maybe some of us are insane. Maybe too many of us have character flaw. Maybe we done bought into some weirdo stuff. Maybe we want some weird form of like patriarchy by feminist specifications and the math don't math. Maybe we set our hypergamy bar way too goddamn high. Huh? I shouldn't be questioning my self-worth because men fall short. God damn. Huh? Which is pretty much exactly what Shayna just said. It's not your fault you're in the poop storm. No, it is. Oh, it is. Unless y'all want to tell me there's some alien race on the planet, it's men and women. It's men and women. Y'all can't tell me it's always Jermaine's fault. Yes, we can, Z. You're right. You're right. I shouldn't have to question my self-worth because men fall short. Well, damn. The men don't know. I said cope and cope harder. Did I not say that? I shouldn't have to question my self-worth because men fall short. Well, damn. Huh? We would never let a man talk like this. Ever. Huh? We don't care how toxic the environment is. We would never let men talk like this. And that's understandable. Mr. Z is for the double standards. With that, this mentality at scale, huh? This kind of heterosexual fatalism that women in particular are exhibiting because they can't get their delusions met. Their delusions, they can't get them met. So it's all hell. They throw their hands up and I shouldn't question my self-worth because the men are crap, essentially is what she's saying. Huh? Continuing.
To be, I don't know, literally anywhere else. But alas, you are looking for a relationship with a man. Thus, the poop storm is your only option. And it's sad to be in a poop storm. I would cry. I haven't really, no, I can't say I do cry, but I'm also very happily single. Now, would it be nice to just come across a diamond, an emerald?
Don't sound like it.
Some people do that. Yeah, it happens sometimes. I also recognize sometimes you gotta play in poop to find that. Do I want to play in poop? No. Thus, I will continue to just live my life until something just literally falls into my hand or in front of me, and it needs to be very shiny.
That's another thing. Notice more and more women are saying that. I actually have a video downloaded on my phone somewhere where a young lady says that she's showing that, right? She's playing it out where she's sitting on her couch and the magical man just walks through her door and said, "I will marry you." I'm glad the women are saying it. Huh? These lazy bums, they attend school, they write their 10, 15, 20-page paper, they study. Z, you giving them way too much credit. Okay, no, we gonna say it. They study, they go on job interviews, they work hard enough to get promotions. Z, you way too much credit. I know. And yet when it comes to relationships, they just want to be there. I just want to exist. And then he just magically appears and he sweeps me off my feet and he kisses my ass and tells me how great I am. Lazy bums. That's why I keep saying to all the technocrats and all the pundits and all the talking heads and all the news anchors, stop telling us how great your daughters are, how great your young female employees are. To all you professors, stop telling me how great your students are, me and other men, because in relationship, oh boy, before we even get to the relationship, oh boy. Huh? These women will give effort for the things they care about. Clearly, y'all don't care about relationship enough. You don't care about men and having a man enough. You graduate high school, you attend college, you do well enough in college to graduate, you apply to how many different jobs, you finally get hired at one, you start climbing the ladder, you spend your money on the expensive stuff you want to spend it on, you spend your money on travel, you go to brunch with your homegirls, you do well in your career, and yet y'all don't have no effort for getting into and maintaining a relationship? Because it gets a little hard, it gets a little difficult. Yeah. America, these are your daughters. Huh? There's a bunch of women saying this now. I'm not doing nothing. He's just gonna have to fall in my lap. It's, by the way, I don't only see black women saying this, primarily black women saying it. But yeah. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat talking about that. And Joe says, white men reign on the top was short like leprechauns. White men's reign on the top was short like leprechauns. They finished. That's why white women are forcing like vultures, right? Focusing like vultures, forcing like vultures. Yeah. I'll say this. You know, and I actually want to highlight another comment too, and thank you for the super chat, Joes, because I saw this earlier. Did I? Let me don't miss it. Let me don't miss the comment. Wait a minute, y'all. Okay, there we go. And it's something that Alpha said to Apollos, and he says, "People like you think Brad is immovable, is an immovable, and Z say it, is a immovable object, is an immovable object." I get what you're trying to say. Laughing my butt off. Apollos, stop acting like a swirler to make Brad a magical being. I get what you're saying. So that's something that needs to be addressed. What we're not saying here is that white men are omnipotent and omniscient and God, essentially. No, the systems in place have given the mass of white men, including poor white men, including untalented white men, unattractive white men, throughout American history and, to be fair, throughout everything pretty much European colonization onward, pretty much 1492 onward, really yeah, but 1492 onward, but definitely during the height of European colonialization, it's given white men in particular an artificial floor to stand on. So it's not about individual white men or white men as a group being these damn demigods. No, they just find themselves as an accident of history in positions of power and status. Some of them are working their hardest to maintain that. Others are just living their lives, and others are squandering it, right? There was a study done that when you inform high school white kids of how the system has been rigged in their favor, they actually want low key to rig it in their favor even more, right? So white people, white men in particular, are not omnipotent, they're not omniscient, they're not demigods, they're not, well, I was going to say omniscient in a different way, all seeing, but no, they're just a product of history. And some of them are willing to sabotage and delete, right, and mislead and lie to maintain that position, right? To sabotage, to maintain that position. You kind of see what's going on globally right now. Oops. Shout out to Ukraine and Venezuela. Uh-oh. As I said earlier, some are just living their lives, and others are just squandering it, right? Some of your white guys that go from middle class to homeless. So yeah, Joe's, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. And Joe's continues and he says, even that Russian guy getting caught up in Africa shows that they, white men, can't float on their status anymore. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So yeah. Spreading the houses in Virginia, or spreading the Mr. Z calls it die slow. Spreading the die slow, the 28 days later, right? The infection. Spreading that. Yeah. Rumor has it, right? Rumor has it. Right. But yeah, I call it either the die slow or the 28 days later, which me and a couple of friends came up with, obviously after the movie. But yeah, the package. Everybody calls it the package, right? The gift that keeps on giving, right? There's multiple terms for it, and that's sad. That's sad. And yes, I saw the video of how easy, how absolutely unbelievably easy it was to just say a few words and a few compliments, and then they end the telly with you, which is insane, right? Y'all give me a second. And we're back. Right. So yeah, I saw it. And let's see if we can finish up with Shayna. Z, you still torturing us with this? Yes, continuing.
Very shiny. These are my thoughts. Please feel free to leave yours in the comment section and stay safe out there. Talk to young people in your life, especially
Oh, Mr. Z talking to himself. So as promised earlier, that's Shayna, and yeah, as the title says, cope hard, cope harder, right? Cope hard, cope harder. I see this as the ladies finding ways to cope with the current environment. Is it healthy? Not particularly. Is it antisocial? I would say yes. It's the ladies coping with the current environment and being single. right? And what they engage in is the gender war, mocking men, making fun of men, insulting men, belittling men, questioning men's intelligence, questioning men's very humanity. Huh? So questioning the way we socialize boys that become men. That is where the ladies are. That is where they are. And once again, Joes, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. I am Waffle says, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. I am Waffle says, didn't this happen before with the Mike Oliver dude? Yep, he was supposedly spreading the 28 days later also across Africa. Don't forget DJ Pope over here. And wasn't there another guy too? I think we made mention of him before that was also targeting black women and spreading the 28 days later. So obviously this is anti-black and racist, targeting black women in specific, right? With that, these white guys know, right? Like even if we're not going to just focus on black women, we saw the video, many of us I think saw the video, the 3-hour long essentially expose where the white guy just was going around the East, just grabbing Asian women's hands, flirting with them and getting their number, no problem. Women of color really have to question, what have you accepted concerning white male hegemonic rule on planet Earth? Because enough of you at least say you're anti white supremacy and white rulership and white domination and white hegemony on planet Earth, but then any random ass white man and you going, right? And I was about to say kangaroo again. And Joe's Z and Afro Merchant, there we go. Afro Merchant says those were kangaroo super chats, not Joe's. And I thought kangaroo and who am I mistaken for who? Because Joe's no, that was Kantaro. Sorry, y'all. Yeah, because YouTube switched up the way StreamYards connects to the names. And so I forgot that Joe's name is not congruous Kantaro or something like that he changed it to. So I saw Kanguru's name and I'm just like, oh, Joe's. My apologies. I mean, I am Afro Merchant, and Afro Merchant says, I'm tired, boss. Z. No, I am, but that's not why that happened. It was me mistaking Kanguru for Kantaro, which is Joe's name, with this new weird thing that they did with StreamYards and YouTube. And I'm not sure if it was YouTube or StreamYards. Either way, yeah, I saw Kanguru and I thought Kantaro, and then I said Joe's. My apologies, Kanguru. Right. But yeah, continuing. So I covered Shayna in this to stress it's coping. And I think you're going to see a lot of this. You're going to see this while they're struggling. You're going to see this from the women that are doing well, the women that are not doing well, educated, not educated. Either way, it's dealing with and coping with, this is the one thing you don't have, right? This is the one thing you don't have. Right? And Kotaro says it, yeah, there go Joe's. He says, sucks that I can't change my name. Yeah, that is okay. Yeah, I just mistake you for Kanguru. My apologies to both of you. right? So yeah, it's coping, and I think we're gonna see a lot of that, particularly from the ladies, but even from some of the men, right? And so expect to see more of Shayna, more of women sounding like her. It sounded like the second video, just trying to come to terms with an environment where they're hypergamous and they're obsessed with status, and in their minds there's not enough men to go around that have this status and that can provide them with the lifestyle that they seek. And so it's the men's fault. As the young lady said, I shouldn't have to feel what she said, it wasn't undesired, it was unworthy or something like that because of the men's failings. Paraphrasing, but y'all get the gist, right? That's sad to think. So now you got to come up with this. I wanted to say elaborate, but it's not really elaborate. It's really straightforward idea that no, the issue is the men don't know how to date. And then she says, it's just being a good person or a good human being, or however she phrased it. And if that's the case, then why aren't you approaching the men that you desire? Why aren't you leading in the date? If it's just being a human, it's just being a good human. Because there's a whole lot of women that don't know the first thing about being a man, doing a whole lot of talking about how the men are messing up. I just want the ladies to know the men are on the planet with you, ladies. Once again, dear ladies, the men are on a planet with you. Dear American women, the men are on not even on a planet, sorry, in a country with you. Huh? Yeah. Exactly, Trell. And she did say that, but she is unfortunately straight. Yeah. And that sound nice. I hate when when heterosexual women that know they ain't gonna do no licking and no trimming start doing the whole well, unfortunately I'm straight. I wish I liked women. Once again, this hetero pessimism, hetero fatalism crap. Because their delusions haven't been met and probably won't be. But yeah, y'all. So on that note, we did y'all a solid. We came in with the part 2, right? And once again, cope harder. Pretty sure I should put it like an apostrophe or something. Not apostrophe, but like a comma. Not apostrophe. Sorry, wrong word. Put a comma between cope hard and cope harder. Yeah. And yeah, I'll go ahead and fix that on this and previous one. So on that note, everyone, we will pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content, for the love of God. And Mr. Z out. All right, y'all. Y'all have a great rest of y'all night.
You are now listening to Mr. Z Blackneffect.